We're here because free speech is under attack. We're here because people are being convinced that socialism works. We're here because people are being judged guilty until proven innocent. We are fighting back with facts. This is not a safe zone, so buckle up, Buttercup. This is the raw, naked truth.
Hunter Biden indicted, inflation rises, UAW strikes, and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and here's the news you need to know. Hunter Biden was indicted Thursday on federal gun charges out of special counsel David Weiss's investigation. Biden was charged with making a false statement in the purchase of a firearm, making a false statement related to information required to be kept by a federal firearms licensed dealer, and one count of possession of a firearm by a person who is an unlawful user or addicted to a controlled substance. According to the indictment, on or about October 12, 2018, in the District of Delaware, the defendant, Robert Hunter Biden, in connection with the acquisition of a firearm that is a Colt Cobra 38 SPL revolver with serial number RA551363, knowingly made a false and fictitious written statement intended and likely to deceive that dealer with respect to a fact material to the lawfulness of the sale of the firearm, in that the defendant, Robert Hunter Biden, provided a written statement on Form 4473 certifying he was not an unlawful user of and addicted to any stimulant, narcotic, drug, and any other controlled substance, when in fact, as he knew, that statement was false and fictitious. Consumer prices rose slightly more than economists expected in August due to surging gasoline prices, the Labor Department reported Wednesday. The Consumer Price Index increased by 0.6%, its biggest monthly jump since June 2022, or 3.7% year over year. Gasoline prices climbed 10.6%, accounting for more than half of the overall increase. The core index, which excludes volatile fuel and food prices, increased at 0.3% for the month and 4.3% on an annual basis, slightly less than economists predicted. The rise leaves the door open to another interest rate hike in 2023 by the Fed if necessary. Inflation at the wholesale levels also surged more than expected in August, reversing previous declines as consumers continued to grapple with the rising cost of everyday goods. The Labor Department said Thursday that its Producer Price Index, which measures inflation at the wholesale level before it reaches consumers, climbed 0.7% in August from the previous month. On an annual basis, prices are up 1.6%. Those figures are both higher than the 1.2% headline increase and 0.4% monthly figure forecast by economists. Excluding the more volatile measures of food and energy, the core inflation rose 0.2% for the month, in line with those expectations. The figure was up 2.2% on a 12-month basis, and the spike came largely as a result of higher gasoline prices. The gas index surged 20% in August, contributing to a 10.5% increase in energy prices. Altogether, the goods index climbed 2% in August, the biggest one-month advance since June 2022, according to the Labor Department. Gas prices are rising due to production cuts by Saudi Arabia and Russia, as well as 13 million acres of American land being taken away from oil companies by the Biden administration. The United Auto Workers on Friday launched a limited strike against Ford, Chrysler owner Stellantis, and General Motors after a deadline for a new contract expired overnight. It is the first time the union has staged walkouts against all three of the major Detroit automakers at once. About 12,900 UAW workers went on strike at a Ford plant in Michigan, a Stellantis plant in Ohio, and a GM factory in Missouri. The union is using a new strategy, keeping most of its 150,000 members at the three companies working to maintain leverage in ongoing negotiations. This union is making history, UAW President Shawn Fain said. This is our time. Fain is expected to meet automaker representatives for negotiations on Saturday. The UAW demands include increased pay for a 40-hour work week while having their employees only work 32 hours. A federal judge rejected the Biden administration's revised version of the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, also known as DACA, which has protected from deportation hundreds of thousands of young adults who were brought into the country without documentation as children. U.S. District Judge Andrew Hannon in Houston ruled that DACA was still illegal despite Biden's latest changes, saying then-President Barack Obama didn't have the authority to create the program by executive action in 2012. Former President Donald Trump tried to end DACA, but was also blocked by courts. Hannon's decision prolonged a tense wait for beneficiaries, known as Dreamers, as the matter heads towards a likely appeal and a final decision by the Supreme Court. The order issued by New Mexico Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham that sought to suspend the right to carry guns publicly in Albuquerque and the surrounding county was temporarily blocked for 30 days by a federal judge. Grisham issued the order to pause open carry laws in the county on Friday in response to rising gun deaths in the state. Gun rights groups, including the Gun Owners Foundation, National Association for Gun Rights, and We the Patriots USA, immediately filed 4 lawsuits challenging the move, saying it violated the Second Amendment guarantee of the right to bear arms. That's the Raw Naked Truth. You can catch every episode of The Raw Naked Truth at xvadio.com/podcasts, the Apple Podcasts app, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and other platforms that respect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.